I hope you can see my screen, right? Hello.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, ma'am.
So today I'll be talking about ACID complaints on data lake using Apache Hudi. So before we actually jump into topic, this word ACID we might have heard in databases, but on context of data lake, let's understand what ACID means. So, atomicity. We should be able to publish data. In a sense, if something fails, I should be able to go back. Either I write all or nothing gets written. Second one, consistency. Only valid data should be saved. Let's assume there is a upstream data set from which I receive data. If something goes wrong, then I should be able to roll back to the previous point where data was valid. Third one is isolation. I should be able to concurrently read and also write from the same data set. Fourth one is durability. That means there is no data loss. So let's see how Apache Hudi will help us in bringing this ACID compliance. So what is Apache Hudi? Hudi stands for Hadoop Upsert Delete and Incrementals. So it is nothing but a storage abstraction framework which will help us in building petabyte style data lake. And Hudi also helps us in enabling stream-like processing on top of Hadoop storages. So Hudi provides us with two metrics or primitives such as upsert and incremental pull. So using this, Hudi enables us the ACID semantics on this. So let's jump at the use cases. Where would I use Hudi? So I have listed like three possible scenarios, but there are n possible scenarios. First one is enforcing data privacy laws. With GDPR, CCPA coming in hand, now the one who is processing data is compelled to delete or update data whenever the person, like if you store a PI, personal data, you are supposed to delete that data if the respective person asks us to delete. So how will I delete that? Given that I have a very big volume of data, now I have to find that particular exact record which needs to be deleted from like millions of record, not even records, millions of files. Right now in data lake there is no global indexing. So how will I find that record? In the traditional scenario, in such cases you will read the entire data set, like you will read the entire TBs of data and then remove that particular record and you will be rewriting it to your partition. But just to make one delete or few delete records, I'm rewriting entire partition, right? So this is a read heavy operation, and there should be a way to bring this down, right? So Hudi is that way. Second use case is ingesting streaming data. With streaming data, we often face some problems called like having small files. So if you have written a Spark job, like assume I'm doing a Spark job, writing a Spark job, and write some, and that one writes some data into S3. I often find n files, like thousands of small files. Instead, I want a big whole file, like a file which has minimum 150 MB. Instead, I find files with KBs and numerous files. You know where this small file problem affects. When you are doing a query on these files, it's gonna drastically change the time. Third one is change data capture. If there is one change happening in one system, let's assume there is a database where an update has happened, and now I need to do that update in lower streams. It will be like a cascade effect. Because of one thing which got changed, now I have to read the entire bulk and rewrite in n places. Is there any way using which I can do just an update operation than doing a bulk insert every time something gets changed? So Hudi typically helps us in dealing with these three problems majorly. So let us dive into the architecture, sorry, features. So Hudi has these features: upsert support with pluggable indexing, managing file size, atomically publishing data, and having save points for data recovery, isolation between writer and queries. You can, as I said before, you can read and write to the same data set at the same point of time. The next one is timeline metadata to track lineage, async compaction, and of row and columnar data. So some of these might look weird for now, but once we get to the upcoming concept, you will get all these. So Hudi architecture. So Hudi at the eye level is conceptually divided into three components: the raw data, the index, and metadata. So Hudi maintains a timeline of all the actions that have been performed on particular table at different points, and this is called a instant. So see, if instant actually contains three major components by itself: instant action, instant time, and state. So, instant action is what type of action was performed on the table. Action can be something like commit operation, or cleaning operation which goes in the behind hood, or rollback operation, or doing some save points. So, instant action can be any one of those. Instant time is nothing but the timestamp at which that operation took place. And third one is state. State is where that action is currently now. Is it being done, or is it in flight mode? It has three values. One is requested, the operation has been asked. In flight, it has been currently going on. Third one, completed. Okay, so next we will be looking how we can write into a Hudi dataset. So there are two ways through which you can dive into Hudi dataset. One is using Delta Streamer, and next one is using Spark Source API. So Delta Streamer is a very cool CLI tool which allows you to watch some specific bucket or a folder. For example, in S3, you might have few buckets which you want to watch. Every time there is a new file coming on, Delta Streamer will help you write those events into the dataset. Another one is you can also watch an Kafka topic and listen to the events, and also write those events in the data stream. Next one is data source API. If you are quite familiar with Spark and concept, we can do a similar way of writing. I'll talk more on this in our hands-on session in like another 10 minutes. So now we have seen how to write. Next is storage types. So Hudi offers two types of storage. One is copy on write, another one is merge on read. Copy on write is like the data is stored in a columnar format, Parquet files. And whenever you do a new write operation, a new version of a new version of the file will be updated. And if you don't mention the storage type, then by default Hudi picks copy on write. So copy on write is very good if you have a read heavy model, and merge on read is very good if you have a write heavy model. So what happens in merge on read is data is not essentially stored in your data files. So every time you do a write operation or delete operation, the data will be written into a log file instead of writing into the actual base files or actual data files. So every time when you run a query on this data set, it's gonna combine your log file and the base data files to fetch you the latest data. And as I said, it's very optimal, suitable for cases where you have a write heavy example. Okay. We have seen how to write data, how data is being stored, and next one is how can I read the data. So it provides three views. One is the read optimized view, real time view, and incremental view. So read optimized view will actually list you the list you the changes that have been committed to your data files. So there are few problems with this view. One is data ingestion in case of copy on write table would be really slow. And if you do the same view, read view or read optimized view on MOR table, you will have a stale data problem since the whatever you wrote is still in the log. So you will be getting older data than the newer one. So next one is the real time view. So real time view is applicable only for MOR table. So it is done by combining the row based files. Basically the log files are in Avro format, and that is combined with your columnar, that is Parquet files, your actual data file, and and the result is given to you. That something that you want to look here is you have to check for the merge cost. Third one is the incremental view. So incremental view helps you to pull changes that got uh, updated in specific point of time. So with that, we'll jump into what sort of operation Hudi allows. So upsert operation, insert, bulk insert, and delete. So upsert is basically you can either update the record or insert a record. But when you compare upsert and insert, inserts are gonna be way faster because in insert you won't do any index lookup. But in case of upserts, it's got Hudi is gonna determine whether that record is to be upserted or inserted. You need not tell. You can just say it's an upsert operation. So it's gonna take little more time in an upsert operation. And bulk insert is when you actually have to load data in TBs. In that time, you can't have everything in your memory. Upsert and insert operations will have the data stored in the memory. But if you're doing a large volume of data processing on that, then storing everything in memory won't be a good way. So bulk insert basically writes that data into disk in some order, and then later it pushes to the base files. In this way, both takes care of the small file problem, and it's even more efficient. The last operation is delete operation. So delete is nothing but you can look it in terms of upsert itself. There are two types of deletes. One is the soft delete, where the key is retained but all other fields are made null. So Hudi has a very similar context like databases where it has primary key, something like that. So Hudi also have something called record key, very similar to the primary key concept. And record key can also have composite keys fields as a parameter. And soft deletes are nothing but it will maintain your primary key, and it's gonna delete all other fields. Hard delete is like a physical delete. You can It will basically remove any trace. Everything is deleted. It's gonna insert null in that place. And we are at the end. So key takeaways. So if you're gonna use Hudi, it will help you in data privacy law compliance, and help you in consuming real-time data and applying CDC. Third one is you can also track data changes, and you can also do rollbacks in case if something goes wrong. And at the end, it has simplified file management for us. So with this, we end our theoretical session. We will jump to the hands-on. Guys, any question? Hello. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. So,
Arena, one thing.
Yes.
So it says copy on write, correct?
Yes.
Can you go to that slide?
Of course.
You said there will be one more version of data that gets created.
Yes.
Is that true? Or when I say is that true?
So whenever in like every time, even in merge on read, one more version of my data will be created. But the difference is this will be created. Sorry. Yeah. So when I opt for a copy on write, uh, there is a process called compaction, guys. Compaction is actually writing whatever you committed into the actual data sets. Okay, into a Parquet file. Compaction is nothing but writing anything that you committed into your Parquet file or so-called base file. Okay. For copy on write, this compaction is going to run every time I do a commit. Okay. This compaction can be costly if you are gonna write every 10 minutes. Let's assume you are writing every 10 minutes again and again and again, which is basically a write heavy operation. Then you will end up your time only doing that compaction, right? So, how copy on write works is, it's as I said, every time you commit something, it's gonna write into your file, and it's not gonna write that particular record. It's gonna rewrite that entire file where the record exists. So let's assume you have 10 files, and I have updated one record in one of these files. So when I do on copy on write, when I make an update to this table, it will pick which file had that record. Let's assume ninth file had that record. Then it's gonna create one more version of the ninth file where this record will be updated. So if you notice correctly, the older version is still available there. If you're gonna do a normal Parquet read, like Spark dot Parquet read, then you will find two copies of the data. One which was previously written, second which got updated. But when you do read that through Hoodie, it's gonna get you the latest one. So the main question is, why do I have two versions of the same file? So there is, so I think we talked about going to point in time. So here we saw save points and save points for data recovery. And see, if you want to go back to a point in time, then you should have those records, right? So every time I make a commit, a new file will rather fire will be formed. So if you want to go back to into time, we'll pick the old file instead of new file. Does that clear your question?
Okay. So my question is like, if, as you said, there are 10 files, I'm updating one file.
Okay.
Create a new version of all 10 files or only
one file.
Okay. So in that scenario, say if I have say 1 GB of data and
Okay.
I'm updating only one record here.
Okay.
So the new version will have another 1 GB of data with that updated record, or it will have only the updated version here.
Okay. The new record. You said you will have 10 files, and each file is 1 GB. Is it?
Again, based on your example, I said 10 files. You can
Okay.
take whatever simplicity it is. If it is a 1 GB file or one file, whatever it is, you can take it up. I just wanted to know like how the data will get duplicated. For example, if I have 1 GB of data, will it get converted as one more GB, which is 2 GB here, just because
Yes.
of an update?
Yes. Yes. But there is, like, again, as I said, it's gonna have a similar copy with that record alone edited in the next file.
So I will have 2 GB of data now, even
Yes.
though I have updated one record,
Yes.
correct?
So if I'm not wrong, if you had 10 files initially, after the update, you will have 11 files.
In that next version. So first
Yes.
version will have 10 files, next version will have 11 files, correct?
No. First version will have 10 files. In the next version, you will have an update for that particular file alone. The file which had your record.
Okay, got it. So you'll have one 11th file in that version 2.
Yes, exactly.
So that every time that 1 GB of data will not keep on duplicating.
Yes.
Okay.
So, but in the background, Hoodie after a point clears the old files, and you can also set that. I can also say Hoodie that no, save point is not like going back in time is not my priority. I just need, for example, if you are looking at GDPR perspective, if I have to delete, then I need to delete, right? There shouldn't be a way to go back to the previous point. In that case, I'll mention I'll have only one version of file. In that scenario, it will update that file, and so it won't be a 11 file now. It will be just 10 file, because it's gonna retain only one version, and it will be the latest version.
Okay, basically I can say time to live, like how long I should keep that updated records or the previous record.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
And you said something on CDC.
Yes.
You said that there is an advantage, and what
Yes.
is that?
No, I thought of showing it, but CDs is I need to pull the change that happened. Let's assume I updated something yesterday, and I don't want to read everything from my file. I want to read one thing, something that got updated yesterday alone. Like, you can specify a time and pull that change alone. Anything that got committed between this time and this time.
Okay. So why do we need to go for Hudi now?
Sorry.
Why do we need to go for a database like Hudi?
Hudi is not a database. It is a data lake. Like, you can have Hudi. It's a framework. Hudi can lie on top of even S3. It can lie on top of your Hadoop file systems. It's a easier way of managing.
Okay, no, I'm just trying to understand what is the problem it solves compared to that. See, there are something existing. It could be simple as MySQL, or it could be an S3 bucket, correct?
Yes.
So what is the problem it solves here that I see it in other,
Okay.
either it's a file system or a database or a framework, whatever it is?
Okay. Let's assume you have 10 files, and now, no, 100 files, and each one has like a 300 GB of data. Now I want you to delete one record, and I'm not sure where that record is. So how will we delete?
Okay, if you ask me simply in MySQL, I'll put a var class and delete that record. As simple as that.
So it's not in MySQL now; it's in S3. It's a data lake there.
Okay.
So now in S3, I don't have any way other than reading entire files. I have to read all the files. Then I have to remove that one record. Like, I'll do a Spark job. Spark job is going to read all those files. Then I'm going to rewrite everything back in the same portion. Just to delete one record, I'm doing a huge operation. It's going to take like hours or sometimes days. But with Hudi, since Hudi like indexes everything, it knows which file to pick. It knows where that record lies. So it will just edit that particular file.
Okay. And we use something similar like S3 select, identify a file, and then just do a delete or drop of that file.
Yeah, but S3 select works on file level, not at folder level, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you're gonna do S3 select to do that, then assume you have like 100 files in that particular folder, one partition, and you have 10 partition. Then you're maximally going through 100 cross 10, like 1,000 loops, if I'm not wrong.
Okay, because in your example also said it's files, not folders or a partition, right? So now you are considering partition as well.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Thanks, Tina.
Yeah. Thank you.
So one question, Rina. So does it also store data redundantly, like over different systems, for some kind of retrieving save point or something?
You mean for data recovery purpose?
Yeah, for data recovery.
Yes, of course. You can do snapshots on this.
Okay.
Yeah. So basically, if you can tell at this point, make a save point, then Hudi won't in the hood delete that particular version. As I said previously, every time you make a change, it's gonna create a new version of that file. So if you say that I need this version to be saved, like you can assume this as a snapshot, and it's gonna keep this copy intact. It won't, even the background cleaning won't delete this file. So if something happens, you can go back to that point.
Okay. So if let's say you want to store this geo-redundant or something. You want to store the same, even the snapshot, you want to store in 2-3 different copies just for some hardware failure or something. Does Hoodie itself support, or we'll have to use the inbuilt mechanism of, let's say, S3 or something?
See, if the I'm not very sure of the question. If the entire S3 region itself goes down, then it's gone.
Arena, his question is more on replication, I guess.
Yeah,
Okay.
correct.
So in Hadoop kind of environment, you can always do a replica where you have one version in multiple places. Even we have our basically this multiple zone, right? Multi-zone availability.
Yeah, okay. No. Replication is not actually Hoodie's purpose. Yeah.
Okay.
No, is there a way there is what he's asking? When I do an
Uh,
update or a delete, will I have one more version of it so that something happens, can I go back to that version or other
yes.
replica from which I can start functioning?
I
Answer is just roll back.
I can't exactly say that it is replication, but rather I can say that as a checkpoint.
Okay, more like
Like,
a rollback option you get on your databases.
yeah,
Correct.
exactly. Yes, yes.
Yeah, that I accept. But my question is more of to do with so in a lot of places, if you see, you'll see, let's say you're going to store credit card information, right, on transactions. You
Okay.
cannot lose it. So in that case, even if you have a checkpoint, you will not create a checkpoint every minute or so. So in that case, just to avoid hardware failure, you'll have a redundant source being constantly created, right? So maybe of that sort, anything does it support, or we should just go back to let's say S3 is the backend. Then do we have to utilize S3 itself to have a redundant storage?
Yeah, so I think it lies with S3 itself.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
Hey, since this is more like a data lake Reena is talking about, I don't think how much of OLTP system can be supported here. It is more of OLAP kind of, where it is for analytics platform basically.
Okay. Okay. That also makes sense. Yeah.
okay. So I'll just jump into the hands-on session. So I'll also pass this notebook to everyone. So before you start your Spark, you have to add a package here. Um, I'll just ping this in the group. Okay, so I need to specify a table name here and a base path. So since I'm doing everything in local, I'm specifying the base path, and you can also do it on top of S3, and I'm sure it supports for GCP as well, but I haven't honestly tried on GCP. I've tried some on S3 actually. So here I've taken a simple insert. I have got 5 records, some employees' data, and their salary. And so you remember I said some primary key like concept in Hoodie. So it's called record key. So right now I've given one field as my record key, but you can also give more than one field here. Just you have to add one more parameter saying that it's now a complex key. And next one is partition path. I can specify out of these records which is on which I need to do a partition on, and what type of operation, and pre-combined field. Pre-combined field is, let's assume you are doing an insert operation, and there you already have some duplicates. You are doing, let's assume you are doing passing this record 2 times, and Hoodie won't know which record to take. So pre-combined, so basically it's gonna order it by the last date, I mean timestamp, and gonna pull one out of these two. So pre-combined field will be used for that. And so if you have done a Spark job, here you will specify the format. Either it's a JSON format, or sometimes you will write into a Parquet format. So in Hoodie, instead you will do instead you will fill it with org.apache.hoodie, and I am writing it. So these are the records that I pushed into the data set. So this is how it will look like. So this is the partition field. So if I'm not wrong, I gave salary as my partition path. So it has partition based on the salary, and we have files. So just let us note of the last two digits 27, so that we can work more on the versioning that we talked earlier. Okay, so I've written 5 records, and each one of these has gone into, I think one went to same partition. Okay, Rachel and Zach went to last partition. Other than that, they were into different partition. And I'm gonna read that. So similarly, you can. This is where I said that this is the Spark way of reading and writing into Hudi. So I'm reading that and showing the database. So apart from what you actually inserted here, first name, last name, email, and salary, you might you might see there are few other columns as well. One is the commit time, what time it got committed. So see, this is a timestamp, and some Hudi sequence number, commit number. So apart from that, yeah, so the other field, first name has also been replicated as Hudi record key, as we mentioned here. So we have mentioned that Hudi record key will be our first name. In case you had 2 or more, that will lie here. Like I can also say salary also can be my record key, like combination of first name and salary might be my record key, then those two will be here. Then will be our upsert. So upsert is basically you can do insert and update here. So I've tried updating one record and inserting 2 records. So now Hudi will itself figure out that this record is supposed to be updated and these two are supposed to be inserted, 2 new. And here I have changed only one thing. The operation is upsert operation, and here the mode will be the append mode. So I'm gonna again read from the read the Hudi record data set, and if you see, it might have been updated. 1, 2, 3, yeah, 7 records here, and we updated this data set. So see, underscore update. So earlier the data set was just the last name. That's that. Yeah. See, it was just his last name. Now I have added a string called underscore updated there. So it got updated. So Hudi has figured out that this record was supposed to be updated and other two are supposed to be inserted. And if you actually note down, the commit time would be different now. So let's go back to the yes. See, whenever I make a new change to my new change or a write to the same partition, so this file was earlier affected. So it has put a new version called 49. So earlier it was 27 for all. And when I made a new write operation or update operation, it has put a new file 49. So this is the older version and this is the newer version. When you actually read this, you will find only 7 records. But if you do a Parquet read, other than Hudi, if you can also read these Parquet files directly, that time you're going to find duplicates here because you have one file, the older version here and the newer version also here. So
one second.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. Now, if you go back to that folder,
Yeah.
I could see 2 files of same size. Correct?
Yeah. Yes. Almost.
Almost, yeah. Almost 435 KB.
Yes.
In this partition, you already had 2 records, correct?
Yes.
So now, whatever there in the partition is completely getting replicated.
Yes. It
Not
will
only the record which I update,
yeah.
it is also replicating other record as well. That is what the file says, correct?
Yes.
Okay, but because initially I thought only one file will get modified, but in the entire partition, everything is getting replicated.
No. Actually, see, since we had very few records here, everything got sorted in one file. Okay. So let me put it this way. Let me assume I had like million records in same partition. That time, million records in same partition, and I have, let's assume, 10 file in one partition, and my record lies in only one file. Then in this scenario, only that file will have a different version, not the entire partition.
Yeah, the part file you are talking about, right? Intermediate files.
Yes, this one.
Yeah. All I'm trying to say is that file, if it is having n number of records, that entire thing is getting replicated, not the only one which we updated, that ZAC or something.
Yeah, yeah, yes, correct. You are correct.
Yeah, if I have a file of say 1 GB, if that record is getting updated in that 1 GB, so that 1 GB is getting replicated, correct?
Yeah, yes, right. It will get updated and replicated. Yes.
Yeah. Then my storage is doubling every time.
Exactly. Storage.
Can I set that file size limit, saying if it is of beyond this size, we can always have
Yeah.
multiple files, or it's default?
We can set it. I'm looking for that. Yes, we can
No,
set.
that is fine. If we can set it, yeah, it's fine.
Yes, you can say that I want to have only one version. Then the maximum. So let's assume you are editing this file. Then the older version won't be present. Only the newer
Yeah, that
one.
is different. Yeah, that is different. Whether I wanna, that's your a time to live. You don't want that updated previous one. You
Yes.
want the latest one. Here in the given partition, if that file have say 10 record, I'm updating only one, then my entire 10 record is getting replicated.
True. Yes.
Yeah, which might be, for me, it's redundant because my storage is gonna get increased over a period of time.
True. Definitely.
Fine. Okay. Thanks, Renu.
Okay, next one is I'm gonna try deleting it. Delete operation is very similar, except that I have to say the operation is delete. And I'm gonna reread it here. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 6 record. The other one got deleted. So Daniel was in which partition? Daniel. So 10,000. So if you see, okay, where is Daniel? Got deflected. Okay. Let me reread. Is here. Yeah, it got updated. Okay. I'll go to the next topic, which is incremental query. So basically, you can specify a time frame between which it will bring you the changes. So I've specified the commits between which I want to take. So this is the beginning time. It will bring me all the changes starting from this point, and this is the query. Like I have to specify that the query is incremental and give it some beginning time, and let me run. So since the beginning, 3 records were again updated. So since this timestamp, there were 3 records that got updated. So if you want to actually do a point in time query, then you can specify a end time here. So that will bring you everything that got changed between that specific time period. So I guess we are at the end. So any questions? Hello?
We are in a
Yeah. 1 minute. I'll